Did I give you some ass last year? I ended up really loving football, so I went to go try out for the football team. So I always thank God that I listened to my professor. Don't you know your father's a boxer?
How long were you a trainer?
And then the school that I was at, they happened to like me and they offered me a position. I got to make some changes here. Are you here for your husband? Take a note for your husband. Was he sick or something like that?
I'm a woman. Nobody respects me. Nobody wants me to win. So
when I got hit with epilepsy, I'd rather cry. They was like, "Oh, Walia, Walia, what's up, why? How you doing?"
Were you confident?
I'm free. I'm free. Won't let the enemy get the best of me. And I'll be what you created me. This is my destiny.
What's going on? Welcome to Purpose Over Everything podcast. I'm your host, Q, and I'm so happy to have you guys here with me today. Now, you guys already know, that I don't introduce my guests. So, something that I do here on this podcast is that I allow my guests to introduce themselves. Because a lot of times people don't really know how to introduce themselves, or they don't know how to even speak well about themselves. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the people today.
Okay. So what up, y'all? My name is Walia, but I go by Coach Coach Slade. I'm a football coach, high school science teacher. I'm out here in the streets talking about epilepsy awareness. A lot of people have epilepsy. It's a serious battle. And, like Reverend Sharpton said, you don't have to be a star to shine bright. Use your platform to help others. And so I'm using my platform as a high school football coach and teacher to spread awareness about epilepsy, what to do, how to help care of those who may have it, because it's really a big, serious situation going on with this condition, and I want to talk about it and spread awareness to it.
Okay.
And I love dancing and I love music.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of things that you just said, and we're gonna tackle so many different topics.
Okay.
But the first thing I want to ask you, because you said that you were a high school female coach. I don't really see a lot of high school female coaches. So, what inspired you to be a high school female coach?
Well, what got me into sports was my pops, because he was an OG, South Jamaica Queens. He was a veteran. And he really loved sports. He was a boxer, so he represented the Army and would box. And he wanted to have sons, but he ended up getting hit with a bunch of daughters.
Mm.
So, he's watching basketball games and stuff like that, and I get to be the one to watch the games with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I got I just fell in love with sports, And plus, because I was always big, parents always put your kids on ways to lose weight. Oh, put them on this, put them on that. So he put me on a track team. My mom and then was like, well, you got to join sports or whatever, And I was on a track team, but, if you 13 years old and you 180 pounds, you ain't trying to run around no track, So I ended up throwing the shot put. And the shot put was cool, but, you ain't losing much weight throwing the shot put.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom put me in dancing school, which was good, but I ain't want to take no ballet. I'm like, I'm big at behind. We no tights, mommy. I ain't taking no ballet. So I took African,
Mm-hmm.
and I took tap and stuff like that. But, I ended up really loving football. So I went to go try out for the football team.
Mm.
And Coach Jones was like, you can't play football. And I was like, wow, I'm tougher than half the boys on your team. I said, KK and Ellis, they suckers. That was some of the guys on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I could knock them both out, Coach Jones. He would start laughing like, well, you can't play football, Walia, but you can be the manager. I said, manage what? He was like, take care of injuries. He said, it's a big job in, college and the NFL. So I ended up being the athletic trainer for the football team. Taping ankles, taking care of all the injuries. Anybody get hurt on the field, be the first one on the field, stuff like that. And then I got a scholarship to college, but not in the beginning. Because my mom is from North Carolina, my whole family. She wanted me to go back to her school, HBCU. But I wasn't trying to go to the South. I'm from New York. I was trying to stay up here. But Hofstra and all the New York schools, they're like double one semester, what you'll pay in 1 year at an HBCU.
Mm.
So my mom was like, can I say exactly what she said?
Mm-hmm.
She said, you're getting your ass out of here. You're going down to North Carolina. Okay, so that's what happened. And so I got an academic scholarship, right? But your first year from home and you whatever. Anyway, I failed 2 classes and I lost it. So she was like, "You gonna bring your ass back home and get a job." But my cousin was on a football team. He was a senior. So he told them that I knew how to tape ankles. So they had me come and tape ankles, and I ended up getting an athletic scholarship as an athletic trainer for the football team and the basketball team. So it's like I'm a student, but I'm also have to travel with the football team and the basketball team because I'm the athletic trainer on athletic scholarship.
Wow.
So, I mean, being around all them boys your whole life, no, I would be a lesbian, but I'm not. But you would think I would be. Okay. Yes. Okay. So nonstop.
Okay. All right. That's a lot. So
you said introduce yourself.
so how did your dad feel once you're a manager now? Because he said
no in the beginning.
No football.
He said no. The coach said I couldn't be on the football team.
Mm-hmm.
My pops had already told me that he wasn't gonna let me play football. But he said, "Go ahead, you'll see." And they said no. But he wanted me to be a trainer. My dad was like, "Hell no, you ain't going to the locker room, none of them damn boys." My mom said too. But then the coach came to the house and was like, "Don't worry about it. She'll be okay. We'll take care of them. It's gonna be more too." So then my best friend, she became a trainer. So it was like a couple of maybe 2 or 3 female trainers, and we all hung together.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm glad I did it because it gave me that scholarship to go to college. And then I also could have went to the NFL as an athletic trainer, and I was trying to do that, but my professor was like, "Walia, you need to take up a major." And I was like, "I'm gonna be a trainer, Dr. Beasley." He was like, "You need to have a plan A and a plan B. Trust me when I tell you this." So I was like, "All right." So I ended up, getting biology as my major and picking up education as a the minor. He's like, "You can always be a teacher." And I was like, I'm from New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, "You think I want to teach them kids in New York, Dr. Beasley?" He was like, "Just use it as a backup plan." And like back in the day when you was like 18, 19, 20, 21, we still, we was just like you guys now. The only difference is that when we had someone older tell us what to do, we would listen. We didn't really understand. We would listen. This generation, they don't listen, which is the issue. So I always thank God that I listened to my professor and I listened to my mentors, because where would I be at now if I didn't take their advice and listen to them? Because he was right. When I graduated from college, they weren't hiring any female athletic trainers. I couldn't find anything. And I used to work they had this big basketball classic. That's where I taped Shaq's ankle at the Rucker. So I would do the Rucker because I used to always volunteer and, do different things with different programs. But I'm always like giving free time because no one is really putting any money into the athletes in New York City, especially in terms of their health. You really see it a lot, especially when you come from the South to the North. They put a lot of money into football in the South. Football in New York is like an afterthought compared to how it's done in the South, which is why they have everybody go play basketball, because it's cheaper for them to do basketball with the boys and the girls. Go play basketball, give them a ball, put them in the park, which is why football doesn't get as much love as you get in basketball. But so I was at the Rucker and everything, and had to tape the ankle. And Shaq got one of the biggest foot I ever taped in my life.
What size is he with?
What? I don't know, but when I was taping his ankle, I swear his toe hit my face. He been dumb his whole life. He'd take his toe. I was like, if you don't stop, okay. But if I knew what I know now, I would have got his phone number. But I was like, if you don't stop, okay. He had just got drafted and everything. But yeah, the Rucker was big. A lot. Everybody went to the Rucker. So I did the Rucker for a couple years with Dr. Chisholm. He passed away, and I was at St. John's helping him out as well. And so I was really trying to bring like some love to football in New York when I got back involved with it.
I want to take our time with this because it seems like you have a ton of information and a ton of just things that has happened to you in your life. So I want to go back to, you are taping up people, right? You are a female manager, trainer, right? You're a female trainer. What's happening in the locker rooms? How are these guys perceiving you? How are people treating you? Because it's not like it's normal, right? So what's happening in those times?
Well, the head athletic trainer, Daryl McCaleb at Elizabeth City, he was a black man, because he was at HBCU, so he was a brother. And so we had to be trained, because it's different coming from high school to college, Then you have to go and get your first aid CPR certification and stuff like that. And I don't know, the head, down in the South, like the coaches, like they didn't play. If they said this is not happening, this is not happening. Did the football players mess with the girls and mess with us? Yeah, and got teased. But at my point, because I was always a big girl And I was in school in the 80s. Wasn't nobody trying to really get with no big girl. They wanted to get a red bone thing or a slim thing. Red bone, big girls wasn't big back in the 80s, They just wanted to make the big girl the side piece. And me coming from New York, I ain't nobody's side piece, son. You know what I mean? So pretty much after I curse out one or two dudes, they fall back. I'm good. All right. Do they be trying? Yeah, they be trying, but you ain't trying to make me your girlfriend. You trying to make me your side piece. And that ain't happening because I'm a big girl. That ain't happening. And then, I used to get tired of that. So the sorority, they would always have these competitions or whatever. And they had like a bathing suit competition. And I'll never forget one of my Marlon Fulton, Marlon Fulton was like, I don't know. He was like, how would you describe Marlon? Marlon would be like, what's the name of that black guy who was in charge of the whole gay rights movement? Is it Billy Pope?
Somebody like that, yeah.
Yeah, Bernard Rustin. He would be like Bernard Rustin.
Okay.
But you wouldn't know that Marlon was like that because Marlon is like, dark skin, whatever, but he was all into the fashion and whatever. And Lavita from Florida, they was like, Walia, you know how pretty you are? And I was like, but I'm big. They was like, yeah, but you solid. They was like, when you walk one way. You don't walk, your body don't go north, south, east, west, okay? So I was like, all right. And so I don't have no bathing suit. So she got me one to have bathing suits. She did my makeup and everything. Make a long story short, I won the bathing suit contest.
Get out of here.
I am not lying. I be all them little skinny ass AKAs and whatever and Deltas. When I came out, they was like, oh, Walia? Okay? And when it was over, I had like Kappas, Qs outside the gym, like, what's up, Why? How you doing? Everybody trying to holler at me now, whatever. I'd be like, did I give you some ass last year? Well, you ain't getting none this year. All right, get out my face, son. All right, okay. Oh, yeah, everybody want to be my friend now. You better get back, son, get back. And then by then, you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm walking around the cafeteria like, what up, Rodney? Whatever, son. Okay, what? Couldn't tell me nothing after that. Couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, damn, Lizzo era. I'm the original Lizzo.
You the original?
Okay, yes, I'm the original Lizzo. I tear it up. Okay, I tear it up. Be a competition for me.
Yeah.
It was like, and my sisters are all smaller than me too, So even growing up, they did not like big girls back in the 80s. I'm telling you, we didn't get that kind of love the way they do now. So it was like your self-esteem was really an issue.
That's where I want to go. I wanted to ask you, like, were you confident?
I became confident, but when I was younger, no, it was something I had to build up.
How did you do that?
Well, part of it happened when my older cousin, Bernie, she had came up from North Carolina. And she had wanted to know if she was going to transition from New York to North Carolina. Time I was 12 or 13, I was coming home every day crying because I was getting bullied and teased all the time. And I was like, they always hitting me and crying. And mind you, I'm a big ass kid, but I'm getting bullied and teased by these kids smaller than me because you're already your mental thinking that, you weak and everything. And she was like, don't you know your father's a boxer? Don't you know your mother grew up on a farm in the South? You better whip that bitch ass, okay? Oh. Don't you come home no more crying.
PG.
Oh, okay. You said it exact words. That's what she said. All right. She said, if you come home crying again, I'm going to whip your ass. She gave me some steps to move or whatever. And I don't know. When they came at me again, something in me snapped. I beat that girl ass and her friend. All right. Then I walked in the classroom, no lie. I said, if you any of y'all ever tease my big ass again, I'm going to whip all y'all asses the same way I whipped Joyce ass and her friend ass. After that, hell to Queen Walia. Ain't nobody bothered me no more. My neighbor Ricky, my homeboy Daya, I had a little gang. Everybody want to hang with me then, okay? Yes, but it's bad you got to do that, but that's what happened because I had to defend me. Because after a while, even, when I talk to people who are in abusive relationships, it doesn't matter how much love you give them if they don't love themselves to take it back in return. Why do you stay in an abusive? Why do you let someone put their hands on you or verbally attack you? What is it with you that you feel you have to be treated that way? But you can't make a person take the love you're trying to give them. They're going to have to say, you know what? This ain't right for me and make a change. At the end of the day, no one's responsible for you but you. Okay? Our parents make us. After that, it's on us.
That's it. All
right? Take 2 minutes to make a baby, but a lifetime to raise one.
Ooh.
Because you got folk who 45 years old who still acting like they 15. That don't mean nothing. So goodness. You got to continue to learn. The day you stop learning, the day you stop growing, life over. So you got to always, reinvent yourself and got to be flexible. Every 5 years, if you think about it, you go through an evolution because when you was 5 and then when you was 10, you saw it differently.
Yeah.
When you was 10 and you was 15, you saw it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then when you 15 or 20, when you 21, you ain't hang out with nobody who's 15. All right? So every 5 years, you go through a mental evolution if you think about it. And whoever is in your life, whether it's your homeboy, your homegirl, or your lover, your spouse, whatever, you guys have to evolve together. If you don't evolve together, then the friendship or whatever you have going, it's over. There's no more growth there.
That's powerful, man. That is so powerful. How did you? So now I'm seeing this confident Walia that nobody's messing with, right? You have a dad that's a boxer. It seems like he was supportive. You have a mom. Seems like she was supportive as well.
Captain at Rikers Island.
Captain at Rikers Island. So now it seems like you have a supportive family. You're confident. You're a trainer. How long were you a trainer before you transitioned into being a female coach?
I was my trainer the whole time I was at college.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I graduated from there, I got talked into staying down there and teach. So because when you're a teacher, you have to do this like 6 months of interning before you graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And then the school that I was at, they happened to like me. They offered me a position. And I was like, all right, I'll check it out. Because if you say New York teachers don't get paid, try the South, okay? And it's once a month. So at the time, it was $25,000 a year.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
What?
Once a month we get paid at the end of the month. Okay. All right. This is 1990.
Oh my God.
Okay. And so, I had just came back because that was back when, we had all the women coming in from Ghana and Nigeria, and they had Jamaica Avenue stocked with the box braids. You get a whole head of box braids for $50. I went and had my hair braided all nice and neat. And then I got called in the office. They said, we really want you to stay here, but maybe when you over the break, maybe you may take your braids out. And I said, what do you mean? My braids are nice and neat. But they're just a little too ethnic, Walia. Mm-hmm. I said, my braids are too ethnic for a predominantly Black high school in North Carolina where you own my people to work the farm for free. You want me to take out my braids? Mm-hmm. Or I can't keep this job?
This is a teaching job?
I was hired to be a high school science teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. Elizabeth City, North Carolina. I ain't scared. I'm telling the truth. Check it out. Northeastern High School.
So who told you that?
The assistant principal of the science department. Was the key about it? She's Black. But she had no choice. That's what I try to tell people. We got racism everywhere. But in the South, it's right in your face. Where up here in the North, it's more behind your back. Okay, we got this systematic racism up here in the North, where you got systematic in the South, but they'll tell you, shut up, nigga, right to your face. Where up here in the North, they know if you say nigga, you whoop their ass.
Right.
Okay, that's the only difference, but it's still there, And if you want to keep a decent job and not work at Walmart back then, you had to do some tap dancing. So to be an assistant principal at a high school back then, for all them years, she did a lot of tap dancing. So, the principal, of course, was white, said the braids was too much for them. And I guess because I wasn't raised in North Carolina, my mom was, and because I was raised in New York, and I went to August Martin High School, and I was raised on the whole hip-hop era, Malcolm X era. This is a PG show, so I won't tell you what I said, but I came back home.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you didn't take the job?
Not you tell me my braids are too ethnic, and we're...
So I'm not doing it.
Came back up here.
Okay, so now you came back, and did you become a coach in New York?
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
So when I came back up here, Coach Jones was always big about everyone coming back to help out the team. So because I was a trainer, I would come out and help out on game days. In New York City, you can only be a head football coach if you're a certified teacher, which is like if you go to like a place like Jersey or other states, you don't have to be a teacher to be a head football coach. You just have to have some football knowledge and maybe a bachelor's or whatever. But in New York, you have to be a certified teacher to be a head football coach.
I didn't know that.
Right. I didn't know it either until it happened to me. So a lot of the guys that would come back, they don't want to be a teacher. Nobody wants to be a teacher. And, and the coach, he wanted to keep varsity and JV, everybody together. He didn't want to have outside people coming back in because he wanted to keep people who had graduated from his football program to come back to give to the program. So make a long story short, he said, well, take the New York City teacher's test. He said, you have the North Carolina one already. New York City requires you to have a high grade for the test in North Carolina. But anyway, I took it. I passed it, got my license, and they got me a job teaching in Far Rockaway, Junior High School 198. And so by me being a certified teacher, he said, come take over the JV football program for me. I said, hold up. You want me to come coach, but I couldn't play? For real? For real?
Right.
He was like, well, you don't have to do all that coaching, Walia. You got everybody on the varsity coaches here. Everybody's gonna come in and we're gonna do it. It's just that I gotta have someone who's a teacher, be the head coach. I don't have anybody. Gotta be a teacher.
How did that feel? Just like right there, like somebody asking you to be the head coach. You wanted to play, you couldn't play. What's going on in your mind at that time?
I thought he was crazy. I was like, what? I said, Coach, you crazy, son, for real?
Mm-hmm.
I told my mother and my father, and my parents always supported anything we did, as long as it wasn't drugs or running around the block naked. You want to do it, they tell you go ahead, do it, as long as nobody don't mess with you. Because my pop's nickname is Shotgun, so he'll pull out his shotgun in a minute if you mess with his daughter. Other than that, I called some of my homeboys that play football, and they was like, why not do it? They was like, JV's not as hard as you think it is. They was like, most of it is getting them boys in shape, You wouldn't even believe it. You probably know more football than you realize. You've been around football your whole life. And I was like, well, okay, all right, let me do it. So I hit the books, hit the videos, watching stuff, just learning stuff. And then I realized, like, wow, they was right. I do know a lot of football. And then I looked at football in a different way than they did, which is where some of the conflict came from, because going down to an HBCU, football is on a whole nother level than it is in the city, And so football teams, when I went, we're a family. We're a family. We got to look out for each other, okay? And when you bring that dynamic to your football team, that is the reason why, your offensive linemen don't have no problem protecting that quarterback. But if he don't like his ass, he gonna let his ass get sacked 20 times unless he just sucks. Okay? Wow. So when you bring that kind of love and everyone to that team, it will transform into you having a really winning program. Even more so than you saying, oh, well, I got the best athlete. Having the best athlete don't mean you're gonna win a ring. How many of those we know?
Yeah.
All right. It's about having the best team. So that has to come from everybody working together, And so when I got in it my first year and I saw what was happening, how it would go, I said, okay, I got to make some changes here. So a lot of the guys that were supposedly helping me with coaching the team, I realized that, I cannot curse again, can
I? No. We're going to keep it PG.
Oh, my God. I got to fight. I curse a lot. So I'm trying to tell you the truth. I got to think of another word than what I said, what I really said. But they didn't know that much. How about that?
Okay, that's a good one.
Okay, they didn't know that. They thought they did, but they didn't know that much.
Okay.
Okay, and so I pretty much was it. I got with some of my homeboys that play football, and it was just like, come on, picking your brain. Went to coaches clinics and stuff like that, and just started educating myself about football.
How do other people view you when you go to clinics and you got parents who now see a female coach? What's happening? Like, what's going on at that time? Is everybody like, Walia, that's good, or there's some people that's like, who is this?
I had a lot of support from the parents that were active. The issue that we have in the 90s, well, we probably have it right now, is that in our community, a lot of our parents work nonstop. And so they miss out a lot of quality time with their kids. They would always support me in terms of, they would verbally, whenever I saw them, give me love and appreciation. But in terms of them physically being there, a lot of them just weren't there because they was always at work.
We still go through that now.
And we still go through that now.
Yeah.
And so my father, my parents never missed a game. I had a couple of football players whose fathers were always supportive at the game. I even had one parent who, he was from Jamaica. He didn't know nothing about football, Mr. Blissett. But he did not miss none of my games, always helped me out because I took care of his son, who was one of my football players.
Wow.
And with the moms, moms always support another sister, But I got a lot of female friends back then, when I went to my semi-pro football, because you always see me with always men around me. So they think I'm a pimp and they always want to try to go with my football players. Okay. So I had to, watch out some of these females that wanted to be my friends, Now, when I go to clinics, a lot of times coaches would ask me, are you here for your husband? Take a note for your husband. Was he sick or something like that,
What?
And then when I tell them I'm a coach, it's like, for real? You're a coach? Yeah, I'm a coach. What high school you play at? What high school you coach for? Oh, okay. You're on my schedule. Okay. I'll see you next season. You know.
I love the fact that you're very tenacious. You're very relentless. Even though you had so many obstacles that came your way, you still prevailed. And I don't think that a lot of people can say that they did that in life. A lot of times people give up, right? When things get too hard or too rough, they say, you know what? I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm a woman. Nobody respects me. Nobody wants me to win. So I'm just going to bow down, right? I'm black. White people may not like me. Other races may not like me. So I'm just going to go to the back, right? But you didn't. Is there anything that began to slow you down as a coach as life started to continue to go?
When I got hit with epilepsy.
Epilepsy.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is epilepsy?
Epilepsy is a neurological condition where different triggers can cause a person to have a seizure. You could have a focal seizure where a person will be talking to you, and then that's a focal seizure. Or a person could be doing any type of activity, walking, in the shower, anything, and then they'll just fall out and start shaking like they're twerking to a Cardi B song.
Come on, coach. I wasn't trying to laugh.
I'm just telling you, you gotta laugh for everything. Like you gotta. This is how I keep myself going. I consider myself a comedian. You know, not a professional one. Like I'm a comedian in training. I make a joke about everything. I try. You gotta laugh.
So you were diagnosed with epilepsy. Like when? Like tell me what happened. How did you know that you had it?
Well, actually, I had my very first seizure when I was I took the kids on a senior trip to Walt Disney World of Florida. And when I woke up, I was in a hospital with two of my football players in the emergency room with me. And I was like, "What happened?" They was like, "Coach, you fell out," and we were scared. Now, mind you, I'm the chaperone on the trip, okay? And they said I had a diabetic seizure, and I was like, they said you have diabetes. At that time, I was like 315 or 25 pounds. You know, but I was big, but I didn't feel big because I've always been athletic, you know, and most of my weight was always up top. So I was like, I got diabetes. I had a diabetic seizure. They were like, your sugar was too high. So they put me on all this diabetes medication, and you got to stick yourself every day to test your sugar. I can't stand needles.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what it is, but it's like, I don't know. When you're a big person, you got little veins, you know? You know, I said, how am I be a big girl with little veins? And so I got little veins, and it's like you put them big needles in it, the veins shut down, and your hand be all swollen and everything. I was like, I can't do all of this. So I put myself, like, I made my health a project because I'm a science teacher. So I always do an investigation. What is diabetes? How you go about it? So it took me about maybe, I say a good 6 months to detox off of soda, sugar, donuts, you know, Popeye's fried chicken and French fries and the biscuits. And so I put myself on a go green diet where the only thing I ate was green stuff to detox myself. And I started losing weight. And I thought, okay, I guess I'm good now. And it was like maybe a good year. And I thought I was doing good. And then I was walking down the hallway to make a copy. Next thing I know, I was in the hospital. They told me I had a seizure at work. And I was like, what is up with this seizure crap coming like all this month? And then after that one seizure, they just started like coming. And then they said, well, you have epilepsy. I said, well, epilepsy? No one in my family has epilepsy. Like, what is epilepsy? And it was like, they said, well, it's when you have seizures. I said, but what? You got to tell me more than that, you know? So then again, I start trying to get as much information as I can about epilepsy. But it's also hard to do and retain when you have these seizures because these seizures are serious because, like in my case, in the beginning, I didn't want to accept it. So I was in denial. And when you have epilepsy, you're not allowed to drive. You're not allowed to do anything by yourself. So now here I am. I've worked really hard to become an independent person, you know, working, driving, you know, being a family, taking care of the kids and the house and everything. And now I got to ask somebody for a ride. What? And no, everyone is busy. No one has time to give you a ride, you know? So I was like, I'm okay. And I was still driving. But it just hit me one day like, okay, you could have a seizure and hit somebody and hurt somebody. At that point, when you get frustrated because you always have to ask people, you don't really care about yourself no more in terms of, if I have a seizure, oh, well, I don't care. I don't want to be here anyway. But when it comes to terms of, I may hurt somebody, so I went and I sold my X5, you know, because if I sell it, I'm telling you, if you would get, because literally, I have literally texted 20 people just to ask for a ride to Walgreens, and it makes no sense, okay? And then when I applied for them, everyone was like, well, you should get accessible ride. You should get accessible ride. I applied for accessible ride. They turned me down. So,
why?
Because you have to have a physical disability for them to do it. And one of my neighbors who has become my good friend, Daphne, she has a lot of experience with this. She said, I'm going to give you a cane and go in there with a limp. And me and my, I'm Coach Slade. I ain't got going no limp. I've been paying taxes my whole life since I was 14. Why I got to lie? This is my money. Sure enough, he turned me down again.
Wow.
And I was like, well, what's the problem? And they said, well, we only give rides to people with physical disabilities. We don't give rides to those with mental disabilities. I said, rewind. What you mean mental disability? I'm smarter than your ass. I have epilepsy. That's not a mental disability. Well, none of our drivers are trained in what to do if you or someone was to have a seizure. And if you have a seizure and you hurt or get hurt, then you become a liability. And they wrote me a letter, okay? And I called the state, and there's nothing I could do about it. They only give you rides if you have physical disability, and none of their drivers are trained in what to do if someone was to have a seizure. And that's when something said, hold on, what's going on? And I just started, and I found out that most schools aren't trained, most school nurses aren't trained, okay? So when I had the seizure and everything, I had to step back from teaching to get everything together because I'm having these seizures, and the schools aren't trying to work with you. They just want you to go home because it's like you're a distraction, okay?
Wow.
And if you're a child with epilepsy, most parents don't even put their kids in public school, okay? Because they're not trained in what to do. So after I put myself a project and I tried doing different medications and figuring out some of the stuff and started feeling better about having epilepsy, I said, let me try to, go back to work and see if I could do this again. I'm a science teacher. They're always going to need science teachers. Plus, I'm good. So I said, let me go in for this. They had like a lead replacement opening. I went in for the job. The principal asked me why hadn't I taught, in a couple of years. And I said, well, I got hit with epilepsy and I had to, really get a hold of it. She said, oh, wow, okay. Well, no, we need you. And she hired me. So anyway, make a long story short, maybe about, third month in, I had a seizure.
Wow.
So I came to in the hospital and I was all banged up and everything, and my clothes was all dirty and everything. And usually when you have a seizure, if you have a focal seizure, you just tune out. Maybe about 5-10 minutes, that person is okay, a little fuzzy. If you have a grand mal, if there's somebody around you, then you put that person on their side. Don't put anything in their mouth. Protect their head. If there's no physical damage, then they're okay. Because by the time the ambulances come, the seizures are done already.
So what's a grand mal? Grand mal is when you fall, like there's a lot of shaking.
And you start doing all that shaking. That's a grand mal.
Okay.
And it depends, because if there's no one around to catch you, a seizure, you get ready to have a seizure, no matter where you're at, you'll fall. So like I've had a seizure in the shower. I've had a seizure in the steps before. I've had maybe 5 black eyes, 20 concussions, and lost 4 teeth for the past 15 years due to the physical damage from the grand mal.
Wow. So you're at school.
I'm at school.
Catch a grand mal.
I had a grand mal. And so I come back to work the next day, and everyone's like looking at me, treat me differently. And I had a coworker that I was cool with, and she pulled me to the side, and she was like, Slade, you had a seizure yesterday, right? And I was like, yeah, but like, what happened? She was like, well, she said, the nurse told everybody to stay away from you. The devil was coming out you. And I said, what? I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah, they told the kids and everybody, just stay away from you. The devil was coming out you. I said, that's why I was all banged up and dirty. Are you serious? I just was like, I couldn't believe it. I felt so like, wow, how you do that to somebody?
Wow.
And I'm a teacher too. And I'm a person. So I'm the kind of person whereas I don't believe in being two-faced. If I have an issue with a person, let's talk about it. So I went to the school nurse and I asked her, what happened when I had a seizure? She said, get back. I said, what do you mean, get back? She said, we don't know. I can't handle all of that. I said, a seizure. I had a seizure. You're a nurse. I'm not trained in that. Are you serious?
Wow.
Then she says, we don't do that in Haiti. I said, this ain't Haiti. Welcome to America. Okay? Sac passe. I ain't going to say what else I said, okay? And then I went to the principal. And the principal said, no, Miss Slade, we're not trained. Are you serious?
Wow.
So I put together a whole training thing, and I trained the entire staff and the students on what to do if someone was to have a seizure. I did the video, showed them what to do and everything. A week later, they called me on the phone, had for a virtual meeting, they fired me. They said I was too much of a distraction. They wasn't used to it. I called the State Department and they said, well, since you was at a charter school, we can't help you because you don't have a union. Charter schools at-will employees, so they could do whatever they want to. And that's when my, I don't know, as I say, all my people back in the day, they just went on for me and I just went on a mission. You know, I contacted the Nassau County Epilepsy Foundation. Janet Romeo, she's the assistant director. And I just called her and said, listen, I said, I'm getting ready to take this to the streets because I don't like the way I'm being treated. And if I don't like it, I know it's a lot of thousands of millions of people don't like it either. And we get treated so bad that we are embarrassed to even talk about epilepsy. I'm not embarrassed. I ain't asked for this. Anybody could get it. And you ain't going to treat me this way due to ignorance. I want to bring it to the street. She said she was impressed by what I said because she said most people don't do it. She kind of adopted me and she sent me all this information. So I took a couple of courses. So make a long story short, I'm now a trainer. If I train all of you guys on what to do, you're now also certified for 2 years to train someone on what to do if someone to have a seizure. Anybody can have a seizure. They are big. 1 in 7 people will develop epilepsy. Now, children, you could be born with epilepsy, but your brain's a muscle. So a lot of kids, they grow out of it. But just imagine, you know, you're 35, 40 years old, and you got your whole, you know, you doing your thing. All of a sudden, you get hit with epilepsy.
So like, this is what happened to you. And did you ever, like, recover from it mentally, emotionally? Did that ever happen? Or even to this day, it's still something that, like, bothers you?
No, it still bothers me. I don't think I'll ever recover for it because of the way that I still get treated, you know, which is why my mission has got to really get out there, which is why I've contacted everybody that I can in terms of spreading the word, because anybody could get epilepsy. My issue is the fact that society and the world is ignorant on how to treat someone if they develop epilepsy. That's my issue. You put all these restrictions on people with epilepsy, but yet you give us no support. Okay. So it's hard for you to tell a grown person, like, you know, imagine yourself, you're very independent. You got family, you got a lot going on. Then all of a sudden they tell you, well, hello, Mr. Q. You can't do anything by yourself anymore. You're not even allowed to take a shower by yourself anymore. What would you do? That is, you know, I have met, and then you go to support groups. And I started my own because a lot of support groups and a lot of counselors who talk to people about issues, they've never experienced them before.
Wow.
I felt like they was just getting paid. Or if we're doing a virtual support group, why is your camera off? How you support me if you just come on and say hello, and then you go back and take your camera off? I can't even see your ass. That ain't no support. That ain't no kind of love. And whatever it is, you know, God has blessed me with some type of, I don't know what you call it, aura, swag, or whatever. I don't know. But whatever I'm involved with, I always seem to get people to love me and want to be with me. And so I always had, like, after it will be over, I'll have people hit me up or email me and say, you know, you really motivated me. Can I get your number? Can I talk to you? And then I said, you know what, Walia, you got to put this on the street. You got to get something going. You know, so I went and got me, you know, my LLC, not nonprofit. It's for profit because the money that I raised, I want to turn it over and open up a car service for those with epilepsy because we can't get around because no one wants to drive us anywhere. So I want to open up a support system for those with epilepsy. And I also want to open up a hangout center. A lot of folk with epilepsy, they want to get out the house, but they don't have anywhere to go because no one wants to be bothered with us. They're afraid that, well, hey, they may have a seizure. But if I live my life with that type of freedom, I never would have met you when I'm on. Okay? I worked that red carpet. Okay? They ain't know I got epilepsy. Ain't none of their
sure
business.
about that?
Okay? I look at what I did with epilepsy was, you see that boxing bag I got? I had put a sign on that boxing bag, and it was called Epilepsy. And because I'm big on, you know, like how I've been treated and racism or whatever, I made epilepsy into a white racist cracker. And we argued. And I said, you ain't going to whip my ass, okay? And so it's a constant fight with me and Mr. Epilepsy because you ain't going to take out Walia. And that's how I fight epilepsy, okay? I made it into a racist character, okay? And we're going to fight on a regular basis because you ain't taking my life, son. And that's how I deal with epilepsy.
Wow.
When I get mad, epilepsy go in that boxing bag, and I knock epilepsy ass out, okay?
Wow.
Do I cry? Yeah, I cry. But you got to cry, you normal, okay? I'd rather cry than walk around, like some angry person all the time,
So do you have help now?
In terms of what kind of
Like
help?
people to assist you and help you? Because you said that people with epilepsy, they usually need assistance and they need help. So do you have help?
No, I have friends and family that help me out. But no, the medical system isn't designed for that, for people with epilepsy. Unless you're bedridden, we don't get any kind of help.
Wow.
You have to provide your own help in your own community around you. And it's really hard. So like what I did was because I can't find people don't want to go walking with me. Everyone has their own life, but I may want to go to the store, okay? And I'm going to get. So what I did was all my stores in my community that I go to, I made sure that all the managers know me, my nail salon and all of them, my hair place, they all know me. They all know what to do if I have a seizure. And so I said, if you do this, then I'll continue to support your business. And they said, okay, no problem. And that way, if I go into a place by myself and I have a seizure, they know what to do.
So can you tell us just what happens when somebody catches a seizure? What can we do in that type of situation? Like if you just had to give us a quick class on it.
Well, if let's say I was to have a seizure right now, like a grand mal, I would stop talking and I would automatically just start leaning. One of y'all would have to grab me, put me on my side, don't put anything in my mouth, protect my head. In about 2 to 3 minutes, the seizure's over.
And then what happens? You just normal again?
You kind of like out of it, like what happened, days, but then you start coming out of it, slowly. That's why they tell you that you shouldn't be allowed to drive because you really don't know when you're going to have a seizure. It could come on at any time.
What causes you to have seizures? Is it stress? Is it fatigue? Is it trauma? Like what are some like triggers that may cause you to have a seizure, or just people with epilepsy?
It's a lot of triggers. With some people, they have a light as a trigger. Some it's with noise, like that whole firecracker popping thing. Then sometimes it could be a change in temperature. In my case, it was a combination of stress. And if I don't eat and I'm stressed out and my sugar levels drop, it can trigger me to have a seizure. So I try to make sure, I take care of myself. I stay on my meds. I take my, try to stay active, And since I can't go to the gym like I used to, I turn my garage into like my little workout center. And there's nothing better than dancing. So, if I got to do the Cupid Shuffle 4 times for 20 minutes or do the Jerusalem Slide, I get my dance on, and everything.
So now, what are some things that you are currently doing right now to get epilepsy more out there for the people?
I joined a project, part of the DOE called Project Pivot.
Okay.
And I will be able to go around to different schools in September to bring epilepsy awareness to the schools and to educate and teach the students and the staff what to do if someone was to have a seizure. I go around and I pretty much educate anyone that wants to be educated. And I also offer it because a lot of people just don't know about it. I hand out flyers and I'll say, well, do you know what to do if someone was to have a seizure? Okay. Do you know what a seizure is? I just put myself out there with people and tell them, anyone can have a seizure. All right, this is what you need to do. This is what I'm doing. Let's get this happening because this needs to be done because epilepsy is on the rise due to the amount of time people stay on social media and stress levels. But it's the least talked about disability, which has the most restrictions and also has the highest suicide rate.
So what could we do to raise awareness on epilepsy? Is it things that just the average person that's in the house, like what can they do to bring more awareness to this?
Have a discussion about it with you and your family or whoever you're closest to. Let them know what epilepsy is. Ask them, do they know about it? And just say, God forbid, if one of us was to have a seizure, do you know what to do? Because when I'm telling you, anybody can have a seizure. Yeah. They don't talk about the fact that the football player, Damar Hamlin, he had a seizure before he had a stroke. What if no one didn't know what to do? There was a kid that was playing baseball last summer at the Long Beach. He had a seizure. No one knew what to do, and the kid died. Okay? this happens on a regular basis and we don't talk about it. And we have to bring light to it. Okay? Especially when doctors tell you, well, you could have a grand mal and have a stroke and be dead tomorrow. That's a lot to process when they're pretty much telling you, giving you, your death sentence, So I was like, all right, this can't go on, and also the fact that I feel like, why do I have to call 20 or 30 people to get a ride when if I have a disability, there should be a ride service out there for me, okay? And it's not. Wow. And so I'm like, nah, this can't be happening, but it really is, okay? Wow. So I'm like, no, we got to do something. So that's why, epilepsy awareness is important to me. And through epilepsy awareness, I can shine light on the fact that having a disability is not uncommon. I'm quite sure someone in your family has a disability. Yep. You may develop a disability. We have to go back to taking care of our people and looking out for each other. You should not have to buy love.
Man, Coach Slade, what a powerful episode. Oh man, I want to keep going because I feel like I could talk to you all day long.
I just want to get a little air real quick because I'm about to pass out. It's hot. Sean over here fanning everything. I'm looking at Sean like, okay.
So before we go, I want you to just look at the camera real quick, and I want you to encourage that person who may have epilepsy, who may have struggled in some type of area in their lives, right? They feel like they're all alone. They feel like nobody's there for them. What is something that you would tell that person right now to close us out?
I would tell them that, yeah, it's hard. Life is hard. But you got to find out what your purpose is. And it starts with you loving yourself, okay? You got to love yourself. You got to find stuff that you love to do, and you got to do it. You ain't got to justify yourself for nobody. Ain't nobody paying your bills, okay? You got to take care of yourself because at the end of the day, you responsible for you, okay? And too many of us, we take on all this burden, other people's burden, when we don't have to. Because at the end of the day, list 5 people that you know are really going to have your back in times of need. List 5 people that you know. When I say have your back, I mean, like, if you have a serious issue, can you call them? Will they be there for you? Or will they be there for you and then throw it up in your face, 2 years later? You don't need that kind of people in your life. And when it comes to family, we have what we call DNA, which makes you related genetically, okay? But loyalty, love, and respect is what makes us family. And that's what I go by, okay? So you have to really look at who really has your back. If no one has your back, then you have your own back. But it starts with you. You got to really love yourself. And which is why we have the most issues we have, because we don't love ourselves. We don't know how to really, really love ourselves. And that's what I would tell you to do. You got to love yourself. And then you got to spread love. Because being selfish ain't going to get you nowhere. Okay? And the reason why I'm still here spreading love is because I've always given love and I always get love back. It may not even be from the people that you think will get it back. But if something happens to Coach Slade, she always finds a way because she loved. Because I love. And that's what it's all about. Got to give it.
Listen, so that is like the best way to close out today's episode. We will have more information about epilepsy and how you can become a part of this movement to bring more awareness to it. We will continue to talk to Coach Slade and just get as much advice as we need so that we can bring awareness to this, because it is very, very important. I want to close us out in prayer, like I always do on every episode. So, God, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank you for Coach Slade. I want to thank you for her resilience. I want to thank you for her being who she was. Thank you for her being a role model and example to so many people's lives. My prayer is that you continue to strengthen her, not only her mind, but her heart. My prayer is that you allow her to live, that you allow her to continue to love and pour onto the people that she's assigned to. And I just pray that you protect her from the crown of her head to the sole of her feet. Lord, we love you and we thank you for all the things that you're doing. And we know that because of people like Coach Slade, there's somebody else in this world that's going to have a better life. So we thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'm free, I'm free. Won't let the enemy get the best of me. And I'll be what you created me. This is my destiny.